term super multiview sounds remarkable. Could you explain what it refers and how it works? In simple terms, please.
Yes. Usually, stereo images are captured with a stereo camera with two perspectives. And super multiview means that these two perspectives were converted into thousands of perspectives in real time. And these thousands of perspectives are displayed. They are displayed on the display panel, and then they are transmitted to the eyes. And your left and your right eye get 1,000 different perspectives. And the effect is that that it reduces and eliminates headache and eye strain. Because if you have a stereo camera and if each eye gets only one perspective, and then you have a 3D display and you have a pop out, then your lenses are focusing on the surface of the display panel, and your eyes are converging to the object which is popped out. And then there is a gap of, let's say, 5, 6, 10 centimeters, depends on the pop out. And usually during a demo on a conference, your brain can compensate this. That's easier. Your brain is not so silly. But it is workload for the brain, and therefore it's a permanent workload for the brain. And if you were, for example, have a truck driver driving in a truck, and he is looking at a 3D display, then his brain permanently for hours has to compensate this. And then the workload creates headache and eye strain. That means divergence and accommodation conflict creates headache and eye strain. And only super multiview can eliminate this divergence and convergence conflict and accommodation conflict. That is the key advantage of super multiview.
Many competitors use eye tracking technology in their systems. What are the main advantages of your approach compared to theirs?
Yes, the first approach and advantage is what I said. Each eye gets more than just one perspective. The divergence accommodation conflict is eliminated. Compared to eye tracking and head tracking, then this is still there, this divergence accommodation conflict. And there's another advantage. With super multiview, you can look around and look behind objects like in a hologram. And that does not happen if you have eye tracking. Then you're permanently, constantly looking from each direction, always at the same image. And there's no walk around effect.
You've secured over 25 patents without diving into each one. Could you provide an overview of their focus? Apart from the super multiview, what other patient families have developed?
Yeah, the first is for the super multiview. What we have invented is an algorithm, a technology which allows to generate these 1,000 perspectives in real time. Before that, it always took hours to generate thousands of perspectives. With our technology, you would do it in milliseconds. That's the first advantage. Another advantage is that if you generate thousands of perspectives, the point is you still do not need additional memory. You don't need 28,000 perspectives in high resolution. No, that is our second patent. Another aspect is that the depth which you see depends on the distance of the lenses of the camera. And usually, for example, if you have a smartphone, the distance between the left and the right lenses is 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters. and then the depth is not high and large. Now we have developed an algorithm which allows to extend and to generate virtual camera positions. And this is a so-called stereo base extension, and that automatically increases the depth and the quality perception which you see in 3D then. And another aspect is we also looked at the brain, how the brain is working. And if the brain gets the images from your left and your right eye, it mainly looks at the borders of the objects to say, well, this is foreground, this is background, this is foreground, this is background. It looks at the borders of objects. And now we are analyzing and identifying the borders of objects in a frame, and then we are slightly highlighting these borders. That means we are generating a fourth information channel to your brain. Usually you have your RGB colors, and now you have the white color as a fourth information channel. And we are telling the brain, please look here. This is important information for you. And that reduces the workload of the brain. And therefore, it makes it more relaxing and easier. Then we have patterns how to produce the lenses, but that are, or for example, we usually we do not know, for example, what the cameraman was doing and how good the camera and the video is. Sometimes there are pop-outs which are too strong, and then the image becomes fuzzy. And in that case, the depth has to be reduced to make it sharper. And this is the so-called nearest point and the farthest point. If something is too far away, it becomes fuzzy.
Are there other K technologies besides Super Multiview that you would like to highlight?
It could, yes. There is one technology. At the moment, the resolution of the displays is permanently increased. We had HD, we have Ultra HD, now we have 8K resolution. And for 3D viewing, the size of the pixels is important. The smaller the pixels are, the better it is. So if we get 8K resolution displays, that's great and better than having it in HD or VGA. And that also means we are the only technology which benefits from higher resolution. 8K resolution, usually at home, you don't need 8K resolution because you have to be 20 centimeters close to the display to see a difference between the pixels. When you're sitting on your couch, you don't need 8K resolution. Ultra HD is good enough. But with our 3D technology and 3D displays, that also makes a benefit because it sharpens, as I said, the number of perspectives is larger than in this case.
Can your 3D display also show standard 2D content? And if so, how does this work?
Yes, we can do that. One aspect is that the resolution of the display is higher than expected, and the lenses are optimized. We call it to be 2D backwards compatible. We remember, for example, the transition from black and white displays to color displays. The color displays were able to show black and white movies. And the same has to happen right now. If we have 3D displays, there are still 2D content. And for example, if you do email and Word and Excel, You don't need 3D. 2D is good enough. And I'm using a notebook, a 3D notebook for 5, 10 years and do Word and Excel, everything, email right now. So it has to be 2D backwards compatible.
Is there potential of your products to be used in the automotive industry?
Absolutely, absolutely. We think this is very important, and we are the only ones which can be integrated into the automotive technology. There are several aspects. One is that the control panel in front of the driver could be in 3D. Alarms could, for example, pop out a little bit to highlight it better. Or when you're driving backwards, for example, and you have a back driving camera, then you can look at your display and you see it as if you would turn back and look backwards and see it in 3D. This is what you then could see on the display in the middle.
How do you see the future of 3D display technology evolving in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think that will be the standard, will become the standard technology, like color displays today. This will be autostereoscopic displays with our technology. This will be the standard display technology in the future. There's no way around it.
What are the biggest challenges to bringing 3D technology into our broader market?
At the moment, our challenge is that we have developed everything. Everything is ready and perfect, but it's in software. So the next step is there to port it to an FPGA chip and then to a real chip on a chip, to put the algorithm on a chip. And I see, for example, that let's say in the future, in 10 years or so, every controller board in a display will have a chip with our technology, and then everything is done. It's just a simple chip. That's possible because at the moment, for example, we have 100 hertz displays, and they are upgrading the frequency rate from 50 hertz to 100 hertz. We are doing something similar. We are upgrading from stereo to multiview. And so technically, it's already proven that it is possible. There is no showstopper.
Which industries do you think will benefit the most from the Super Multiview technology?
Yeah, well, in principle, everything, because every display will be in 3D. And as a first step, for example, the automotive industry makes sense, but also, for example, video conferencing and medical, minimal invasive surgery. That means where they have cameras and they are operating in your body without opening your whole body. They can watch it and see it in 3D with depth. And that is very much and very important. Endoscope 3D, for example, with glasses. And the important thing is that in the operations room, it's not just the operator who can see it in 3D with glasses also. No, everybody, all his assistants can also see it in 3D, and they exactly know what the operator is doing and what his activities are.
So while you're operating, you can teach also.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have it. You can see it here. The training with 3D. Yes, absolutely, in all areas. And also, another interesting thing is drones. And if you have drones which have a stereo camera and they are flying into catastrophe areas, they can, for example, see how big is the catastrophe. Where are people still living? How depth is it? What is the size of the stones? Or if they can fly into Fukushima, into the reactor and see and check and show down to the control room in 3D what the situation is. So rescue drones is very important.
What does the user experience differ when using your 3D display compared to traditional 3D systems?
Yeah, well, as I said, the Virgin's accommodation conflict is eliminated. The brightness and darkness reduction is something. And multiple viewers, everybody in front of the display can see everything in 3D. And also, our technology does not have fuzzy areas. Everywhere, every user can see everything with sharp images. There is no fuzzy area anymore with our technology.
What role does software play in the development and performance of your 3D display?
Yeah, well, the software in quotes is the algorithm to convert a stereo image to thousands of perspectives in real time. And that is consists of two phases. The one is first is the analysis phase, where the software analyzes the stereo image to see, well, where are correspondences between the perspectives and where are the so-called occlusions, left and right occlusions. And this information is then passed to the synthesis phase, where all these millions and thousands of perspectives and pixels are generated optically correct, with preserving the left and right occlusions and generating the pixels also in these areas.
What kind of feedback have you received from users or companies who have tested your technology?
Very simple. They said, it's fantastic. We have never seen something better. That was all the answer of all viewers and customers.
We talked before. Do you think there is potential for 3D displays to impact areas like education, healthcare, or art? And if so, how?
Yes, absolutely, because the benefit is that the trainees get a better impression of what they will see later on, what they will use, what they will handle, what the distances are, what the sizes are. They get a much better feeling if they can see it in 3D than just 2D.
Are there any surprising or unexpected applications of your technology that you have encountered?
No. If I would have worked on it.
What advice would you give to aspiring and innovators in the field of 3D technology?
Yeah, well, there is an area which is still interesting. That's the camera technology. At the moment, the displays is, but for example, I said, yeah, well, this is the stereo base, the sharpness, that is the camera quality and the size of the cameras. If you have a stereo camera, it has to have two lenses, and that's, of course, has to be taken into account. Or if you have, for example, a car, then you have a camera which is tiny, like 1 centimeters each lens, and that has to be. I think that can be improved. The input to our technology can be improved. That would be great.
Thank you so much, Dr. Naske, for sharing your insights and taking the time to answer my questions. It was fascinating to learn about more your work and potential of your technologies. I wish you continued success in your project and look forward to seeing how your innovations shape the future.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll hope. Yes. alles immer in 3D zu sehen.